You think you know how Juice Wrld died? You think it was just another tragic overdose story wrapped up neatly by the media? Nah fam, you've been fed the same recycled headline for years. But what if I told you a new recording buried? Hidden, silenced, just surfaced, and it changes everything you thought you knew about his final hours? Imagine this, a voice note so raw, so chilling, that even his closest people are scrambling to deny it ever existed. Why? Because it doesn't just talk about addiction, it calls out names, big names, the kind you don't mention unless you're ready to disappear. Coincidence that it dropped right before his death? Or a sign that Juice knew exactly what storm was coming? Now hold up. Before you roll your eyes and say, bro, it's just another conspiracy, ask yourself this. Why is everyone from his ex to his label suddenly acting allergic to this recording? Why are insiders whispering about sealed court files and missing hard drives? And why does every leak point to one truth, that Juice's final message wasn't an accident but a warning? Strap in. This isn't just another Rip Legend video. This is Juice WRLD's final recording. And it will flip the entire story on its head. Alright, let's stop sugarcoating. If Juice WRLD's death was as open and shut as officials want you to believe, then riddle me this. Why does a mysterious recording, yes, an actual unreleased voice memo, have people in Chicago whispering like it's some hip-hop area 51 file, the name on everyone's lips? Juice himself. Days, maybe hours before his collapse at Midway Airport, he allegedly recorded a message on his phone. Not a freestyle, not a demo, a raw confession? According to one insider who swore anonymity because, quote, I don't want Bibby's people knocking on my door. The recording contained Juice ranting about being set up by folks in his own circle. He even name-dropped a snake in the crew, though the actual name has been suspiciously censored in every leak. Convenient, right? Now pause. Let's rewind the tape literally and figuratively. We already know Juice wasn't shy about documenting everything. Studio sessions, pills, paranoia, heartbreak, nothing was off limits. So why would his final tape suddenly vanish into thin air? If you think that's just bad luck, then congratulations, you'd make an excellent PR manager, because here's the kicker. Multiple sources claim the recording wasn't just Juice venting, it was evidence. Evidence that he was feeling the pressure not just from drugs, but from people in power. The kind of pressure you don't survive. Remember how his private jet was loaded with 70 pounds of weed, guns, and codeine? Nobody's denying that. But the real question is, who put him in that position? Was a 21-year-old kid really masterminding his own federal case, or was he the fall guy for someone bigger? Fans online are already playing detective. One Reddit thread with 20,000 upvotes asked straight up, why would Juice record this message if he didn't know something was about to go down? Another viral TikTok claims the waveform of the leaked clip matches his voice patterns from old freestyles. And yet, every time the snippet resurfaces, it gets deleted faster than Juice could spit a 5-minute freestyle. DMCA takedowns? Sure, but who's pulling those strings? The estate? Or someone who doesn't want the truth out? And don't even get me started on Ali Lottie. Remember her Instagram rant? You guys think he died from an overdose. You're wrong. You're wrong, literally. At the time, everyone dismissed it as grief, clout chasing, or both. But now, suddenly, her words sound like breadcrumbs leading back to this very recording. Was she trying to tell us without spelling it out? Or was she pressured to backtrack later? Either way, the pattern is impossible to ignore. The more you look at Juice's so-called overdose, the less it looks like a tragedy and the more it feels like a silenced warning. And trust me, the deeper we dig into this tape, the messier it gets. Because the scandal isn't just about what's on the recording, it's about how far people went to bury it, where the whole house of cards starts collapsing. You see, this wasn't just a lost file. This was a recording so explosive that people allegedly risked careers to keep it. Off the internet, leaked DMs between supposed insiders paint a wild picture. One conversation, screenshot and blasted all over Twitter before being deleted, shows a former grade of productions intern saying, "They told me to wipe Juice's iCloud before the cops touched it." There was a note file and a voice memo that could have ended everything. Ended everything? That's not how you describe an unfinished freestyle about heartbreak. That's how you describe dirt that could burn down an empire, and fans notice the pattern. Every time someone tries uploading a clip labeled Juice's last recording, within hours it's nuked from YouTube. Strikes, bans, copyright claims. Sure, labels protect intellectual property, but this feels different. Why is a shaky 45-second voice memo getting scrubbed like it's classified Pentagon footage? Unless, of course, it hits too close to the truth. Let's add gasoline to the fire. Anonymous sources from the Chicago hip-hop scene claim the recording contained Juice calling out his label for exploiting his addiction, one alleged line. They'd rather me high in recording than clean and gone. Now imagine the chaos if that quote ever went mainstream. Think about it, millions of fans suddenly convinced their idol was forced into addiction for profit. That's not just a scandal, that's a billion-dollar brand going up in smoke. Public reaction? Absolute chaos. TikTok detectives are already running with the forced addiction theory. Threads on Reddit's rjuice_wrld are exploding with speculation. One top-voted comment reads, "If this recording is real, then Juice's death wasn't just an overdose, it was corporate." Manslaughter? Dramatic? Sure, but is it believable? In an industry where young stars are milked like cash cows until they collapse, it hits a little too close to home. Even mainstream outlets are acting weird. A small Chicago blog reported. They were pressured to pull down an article about the leak. They didn't say who pressured them, just that phone calls were made. Sketchy, right? Since when does a fan rumor spark that level of corporate panic? Unless, of course, it's not just a rumor. And then there's Ali Lottie again. She went live in early 2022, hinting she had proof about Juice's final hours but couldn't reveal it for her own safety. Fans laughed it off back then. But paired with this recording, suddenly her cryptic warnings don't sound so delusional. They sound like foreshadowing. Here's the irony. The harder they try to bury this recording, the louder it gets. It's the Streisand effect on steroids. Fans smell blood in the water. And every takedown only convinces them more that the label or someone higher up is terrified of the truth. And if you thought angry Reddit posts and TikTok theories were bad, wait until you see how far the fallout has spread. Because once the fallout hit, it wasn't just fans screaming into the void anymore. It was lawyers, suits, and even government agencies circling like vultures. What started as whispers about a leaked recording suddenly snowballed into full-blown crisis. Management. Let's start with the legal storm. According to one supposed insider attorney, the leak triggered a quiet probe into whether Juice's label mishandled evidence connected to his death. Yeah, you heard that right, mishandled evidence, the allegation. That someone close to the label intercepted Juice's phone before investigators got to it? If true, that's not just shady, that's obstruction of justice. Imagine the headlines, record label caught covering up artist's final words. You think lawsuits over unpaid royalties are messy? Try criminal charges and the fans, they went nuclear? Twitter campaigns like #JusticeForJuice and #Release the Recording started trending worldwide. Petitions demanding the FBI investigate Grade. A productions gathered tens of thousands of signatures in a matter of days. Some fans even mailed empty pill bottles to the label's office in protest. Sarcastic? Yes. Symbolic? Absolutely. Meanwhile, conspiracy channels on YouTube and TikTok are eating good. Theories range from Juice was silenced because he knew too much about the opioid pipeline to the recording proves he was about to break his contract. One viral video even claimed the waveform of the leak spells out help when inverted ridiculous, but hey, it pulled 2 million views in a week. But here's where it gets terrifying. A Chicago-based journalist claimed in a podcast that he was working on a piece about the leak when, mysteriously, his car got broken into and his laptop was stolen, nothing else touched. Another writer said she received anonymous calls warning her to drop the Juice story. Coincidence? Or the kind of intimidation tactics you'd expect in a mob flick, not the music industry. And don't forget the money. Investors reportedly started side-eyeing the label. Rumors flew about sponsors pulling out, tour deals collapsing, and unreleased projects being shelved indefinitely. For an industry that runs on image, even the whiff of scandal can tank millions. And this isn't just a whiff, it's a five-alarm fire. The craziest part? Even with all the chaos, the full recording has never seen the light of day. Just snippets, rumors, and denials. Which raises the ultimate question: what's on that tape that's worth risking lawsuits, careers, maybe even lives to keep hidden? Was it a confession, a diss, a warning, or all three rolled into one last bombshell message from a 21-year-old legend who knew too much? And here's the kicker: if the fallout's already this bad without the full recording dropping, imagine what happens if it ever does. We're talking lawsuits on steroids, federal probes, maybe even people in handcuffs. Because once the truth is out, there's no putting that genie back in the bottle, which leaves us right here, staring at the biggest question of all. Did Juice Wrld leave behind a final recording that changes everything? And if so, how long until the world finally hears it? So fam, after everything we just uncovered, Juice Wrld as hidden tape, the shady cover-ups, and the fallout that refuses to die, the real question is simple. Do you think we'll ever hear the full recording, or will it stay locked up forever? Drop your theories in the comments, because trust me, this story is far from over. And if you're the kind of person who lives for the raw truth, the drama, and the beef the industry doesn't want you to see, then hit that like button, smash, subscribe, and join the movement here on Rappers Beef.